Greetings, everyone. I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Stay inside if you've been instructed to do so, and by all means, don't waste your time while you're sitting inside at home. Create something, work with something. You can learn how to, pass your Revit certification test by watching my videos. And of course, I've got several other videos as well that you can watch to kind of give yourself some knowledge in some other areas of using Revit and or AutoCAD. But anyway, this Revit video, is going to show you the next step in, let me get it up here, for your, the next objective in your Revit certification. And that's going to be create a roof and create and modify roofs. Okay. All right. So creating and modifying roofs, we're going to use this shape right here that I've got, these four walls, and we're not going to do anything else, anything special to it. Now, typically I go to the level 1, or what I have labeled here is top of slab. And of course, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be called top of slab. It can be called anything else. And typically, I'm actually going to go ahead and rename this one. I typically will call mine level 1. That's the same as being at the top of the slab. And yes, I want to rename all corresponding views. So we'll go to level 1. That way, we just got a drop down look from top down. Look at our footprint, and it's just a simple rectangle. And the roof tool is going to be found up here in the ribbon. Actually, you will need to be on the architecture tab, and then roof tool. There are several ways you can draw. You can draw by footprint, you can draw by extrusion, you can draw by face. Okay, drawing by extrusion and face, well, extrusion is not too hard. Drawing by face can be a little complicated, but as far as your user certification test, you're just going to look at roof by footprint. So we're going to do that, and it will ask us, it says you have created the roof on the lowest level. So I am currently on level 1. That is true. I probably should have went to level 2. But would you like to move to level 2? Yes, I would. So I'm going to move to level 2. And let's see, I don't remember exactly where level 2 falls. Let's say yes. Okay, now let's go into our south view and kind of get a look at our levels. It's been a while since I've looked at this. And actually, I probably want to go up to top of wall 1, as you can see there. So I can go back to my drop down view, go back into, let's see, my roof tool just by clicking on any of the drawing tools. So I'm still inside the tool, as you can see here with the check and the X mark that says that I'm in a mode. Okay, but I can just say pick walls and go to level 2 and then change that to top of wall 1. Now I typically do name that top of level 2 is top of the wall 1. All right, so there we are, top of wall 1. And first thing we'll take a look at is that there are several roofs in the type selector, several types of roofs. You've got several generics of different sizes, a steel truss with an insulated metal deck. And we have one that works really good for residential drawings, and that is the wood rafter 8-inch. Okay, so I'm going to click on that one, and that really would be a just a simple, residential type roof, 8-inch rafters, asphalt shingles. Okay, and I have pick walls selected over in my ribbon, which is typically when you go into your roof tool, that is typically the one that is selected by default. And then all I have to do from there, of course, I can go around and click on each individual wall to place a roof boundary along that wall. But I also might want to do something over here as well. Most roofs will have an overhang. Most residential roofs will. Seldom do you find them that do not, although they do exist. So on the overhang, it'll come out to be around 6 to 18 inches or anything like that. I'm going to put 18 inches on this one. Okay, so it's going to have an overhang of 18 inches or 1 foot 6 inches. Defines slopes will define what sides are going to have a slope. So right now it's turned on. So as I click around, it will actually define each side to have a slope. If I don't want a side to have a slope, then I will turn it off as I click that side, or I can go ahead and just click all sides. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to hover over the wall, and as you see the hidden line, the dashed line, is appearing on the north side of that wall, which is where it needs to be. Now, if you hover over the wall and you hover towards the inside, it's going to move that overhang to the inside. That's not going to work. So you need to hover to bring it to the outside, and just click around, and that gets all 4 walls taken care of. All right, well, let's say I just clicked all those walls, but I don't want a slope on the 2 ends. I want this to be like 2 gabled ends. So first thing I'll do is I'll click the escape button twice to get out of the tool, and then I'll come and click on each individual line, and you see this line is highlighted and it says defines slope. So I will turn that off. That no longer has a slope. I'm going to do the same over here on this line. I'm going to click on that one and click on defines slope to turn off that check mark. So now I will have a gabled end roof on both sides. We also can see if I click on this wall, it says we have a slope of 9 inches over 12. Okay, so that's your rise over run, 12-inch run, 9-inch rise for every 12 inches. But let's say I want something a bit shallower. Let's say I want a 5, 12. So 5 inch slash 12 inch. Okay, and there we go. Now it can also be changed over here. Okay, if I go down and I can click on this line, because I have to change each one of these slopes individually. Now I could have selected both of them by holding down the control key and did them both, but I'm just doing them one at a time. If you have a lot of walls, you might want to consider doing many of them at once. And then over here, I can just click and change that to a 5. So that's another place that you can change that slope. All right, so all my slopes have changed. I got the gables on both ends by removing the slope. And if I click on the check mark, everything should be okay. All right, now to check out your work, 3D view works the best. So I'm going to double click on the only 3D view that I have, and you can see that it worked, with one exception, is that I don't recall if it asked me to, but if it does ask you if you want all walls to join with the base of the roof, then you can select yes, and it will automatically do that. Other than that, you can click on each wall. Let's go ahead and click on both walls. I'm going to hold the control button down. So I have both walls selected. And then I'm going to say, right up here in my ribbon, I'm going to click on, I'm in the Modify tab now. It automatically defaulted to the Modify tab. And it wants me to attach, or it's asking me, or I can choose this, attach top to base. So I click on attach top to base, and then click on what is going to be the base, which will be the roof. So the roof will be the base. See, the base of the roof basically is where those walls are going to attach. Okay, so that's how you work with roofs. And you know, naturally I would already go around and probably do these walls too and attach those to the roof. So I'm going to get both of them, hold down the control button. Now, of course, right now you can't see a gap or anything between them. There's probably a very microscopic gap, but what that does by joining it is, well, it closes that gap for sure. All right, and other things you can do for editing a roof. As you see, I have it clicked, I have it activated. I can actually move my pitch just by moving these grips up and down. That changes my pitch. So now if I look over, my slope right here In the properties panel, my slope is actually a very odd measurement, 193,256 inches over 12. Okay, so that's basically just, it calculates that automatically. And you can see now that it changed again as I changed that. And of course I can always go in here and type. So I'll retype 5 inches, apply, and it went back to the 5 inches. Let's see, you can also, from here, with the roof activated, I can change its level. So if you happen to create a roof and let's say you put it on the wrong level, no big deal, you can always change the level. Just activate the roof and then come here to the properties panel and change its base level. See, if I click on that, then it gives me all the options as well. Room bounding, typically by default it's always room bounding, and you'll always want that on. There is a base offset setting, so if you want it to be above the wall just a little bit, maybe an inch or two, you can type it in right there, and when you make the roof, it won't set it down on the walls for, say, top of wall 1 level, but it will kind of levitate the roof an inch or two above the actual walls. Or if you wanted it to be a negative number that you want, maybe you want it to bring the height of those walls down just a tad with your roof, and you can do that. You can just type in a negative, say a negative 0.2 inches, and then it would actually be a little bit below that level, that top of wall 1 level. Cutoff level, I've never seen a question referring to that on the test, and I've actually never used it. I've never needed to, and it looks like it would just be the same pretty much as your base level as far as your cutoff level. There are some cuts. You have different cuts as far as your rafter cut. Right now my rafter cut is plumb. Let me select that again and circle around. So I have what is called a plumb cut, so it's even kind of vertical with the ground. I can change somewhere right here. I can call it a 2-cut plumb, okay, which, as you see, it changes the cut there. So it actually, instead of cutting it straight up and down, making it perpendicular to the ground, it's now parallel to the ground. Okay, and another cut would be 2-cut square. Okay, and I don't know what that does as far as the drawing is concerned, because it hasn't changed anything. But, typically I'm always using plumb cut anyway. So plumb cut, it makes it perpendicular with the ground. Let's see, we've already been over slope. There's nothing else I can think of. And some of these other parameters can be changed if you go into a deeper level of editing. We're not going to do that, which you really don't need to for the test. And this would really take care of how to create and modify roofs.